Hello, Scaredy Cats, it's me, Scaredy Matt. On paper, Nightbreed is a movie practically made for me personally. A movie full of weird-looking monsters getting into fistfights with the police, written and directed by Clive Barker, the guy who wrote Hellraiser, but more importantly named the movie Midnight Meat Train? And he also made pretty much nothing else good ever? All in the early 90s, made with practical effects? It's a story of a guy realizing he's destined to become part of a parallel society of monster people who live in a graveyard and worship a big demon statue man named Baphomet. It's kind of an allegory for being queer, kind of an allegory for colonialism, but mostly, it's a big mess. Here's the thing about Nightbreed. I expected it to be cheesy. I expected it to be weirdly horny because it's Clive Barker. I thought there'd be a distinct possibility that it would be completely incoherent. What I didn't expect is that it would not only be incoherent, but hostile towards the very notion of coherence, lacking both a comprehensible story and thematic cohesion, as though it was deliberately created to suggest meaning, but not to actually possess meaning. To draw you in, pique your interest, and then always hold its secrets tantalizingly just out of reach. A movie designed to drive the reviewer mad in a quixotic quest to untangle that is ultimately fruitless. Hey, but you know what ain't fruitless? It's this dang fruity cereal from today's sponsor, Magic Spoon. Do you want some breakfast cereal without all the sugar and artificial garbage? Just some cereal you can munch on while watching the director's cut of Clive Barker's Nightbreed specifically? Bobby, come on, leave my audience alone. There's no way that a breakfast cereal is gonna fit into their healthy lifestyles. But Maddie, baby, this is Magic Spoon. It's cereal reinvented. These cereals got 13 to 14 grams of protein, 4 grams of net carbs, and 0 grams of sugar. Yeah, sure, that all sounds great, but what about gluten, grain, soy, or GMOs? Well, here's the thing, Maddie. Get this. Magic Spoon doesn't got none of those things. Not a single one. We're talking keto-friendly, delicious cereals made from natural ingredients. If you go to https://magicspoon.com/scaredycats and input code scaredycats at checkout, you can get $5 off your first order. What a deal! But I'm still conflicted. Without some sort of 100% happiness guarantee where if you don't like it for any reason, you can get a refund. I don't know if you know Magic Spoon's got you covered. 100% happiness guarantee. What are you waiting for? Go to magicspoon.com/scaredycats and input code scaredycats. Do it now! They don't even mention this in the copy, but look, they got a maze on the back that you can do. How cute is that? Nightbreed is the story of Aaron Boone, played by Craig Sheffer. He has recurring dreams of a magical land full of monsters called Midian, where all your sins are forgiven, and also it's full of monsters, I don't know if I mentioned that. Boone needs his sins forgiven, you see, because the psychiatrist, Dr. Decker, played by David Cronenberg, is a serial killer who convinces Boone that he went into a fugue state and committed Decker's murders, and then drugs him with LSD for some reason. Decker's the standout element of this movie. Cronenberg's performance is incredible, choosing to play the character with this dry wit and upbeat attitude that makes his brutal killings far more memorable than if he played it straight.
I was born to destroy Boone and the breed together.
You're crazy.
No, I'm death.
He's the guy that likes killing, and it's just another part of his day, like it's just a thing he does. And his mask is bitchin'. By far one of the coolest slasher masks I've ever seen. It sticks out in this movie full of people in full monster makeup, all of whom look kind of dull and goofy in comparison, which is a real shame because all Nightbreed really had to do to work was show off a variety of fun monsters, and it kinda does. Because, spoiler alert, Midian is real and full of living dead people called Nightbreed. They can convert people like vampires, but only some people, I think. It's not clear. When they die, they reveal their true faces. Spooky faces. Get this, everybody. You're not gonna believe this. It turns out that Boone, get this, he's the chosen one who, according to an ancient prophecy, will save the Nightbreed from destruction or some shit. Hey, Nightbreed, what do you do? Figure out what it is you do. You had all summer to figure out what you do. I have never known what to make of a movie less. Feels like 1,000 different ideas, none of which work together, crammed into one movie. On the one hand, it's kind of like an X-Men story. A group of outsiders, most of whom have special powers, having to hide themselves from an intolerant and hostile world. And the movie definitely wants you to think of it in those terms, that you should relate to them and feel sorry for their persecution, while showing you that they're sadistic assholes who defile corpses and try to eat people. Like the X-Men, this serves as an allegory for a variety of minority experiences, but particularly in Nightbreed's case, the queer experience. Boone has a secret desire within himself that he is told is false and shameful, until he meets like-minded people and becomes part of their community and culture. This community must remain hidden, or else face repression and persecution from the outside world. Great, sure, yep, okay, makes sense so far. But also, the Nightbreed are legitimately sadistic, violent, and in most cases, actively homicidal. One of them tries to eat Boone when he's first introduced, despite being told that it's against the secret Nightbreed laws.
He mustn't! It's the law!
Fuck the law. I want meat.
And if they had to specifically write into their laws that you're not allowed to eat people, that kind of implies that before they made the law, it was a pretty big problem. So it's not just this guy's thing, it's a thing that all Nightbreed just kind of want to do. Or like this guy who just defiles a corpse as a joke. Or this guy who just tries to grab a random woman walking by with clearly sinister intent. This is the same problem that X-Men or shows like True Blood run into. The allegory kind of falls apart a little bit when there's a legitimate reason for the persecutors to fear the persecuted. Like in real life, for example, gay people, and I have this on pretty good authority, are seldom cannibals or murderers. Almost none of them can control the force of magnetism. Nightbreed also goes for this clumsy, half-hearted attempt to compare the titular monsters to Native Americans. The conflict between human and Nightbreed is historically genocidal, with humans trying to wipe out the Nightbreed due to religious conviction that they're demonic, which, you know, they do worship a giant statue man literally named Baphomet, so, you know, a little bit. The breed refer to themselves as the Tribe. They're led by an elder, hilariously named Dirk, played by Doug Bradley, Pinhead himself, but don't get excited because he's super boring. They're driven from their ancestral homes onto a reservation, here a graveyard. And also, they're flesh-eating monsters with worm attacks. So it's still not a great allegory. Clumsy metaphors aside, Nightbreed mostly squanders its ridiculous premise. It spends most of the movie explaining itself to you, and by the end it still felt underdeveloped, like they were counting on a sequel to tighten up the mythology. I watched the director's cut, so I don't know if maybe it was clearer in the theatrical cut, but I was left with a lot of questions. Both versions end on a cliffhanger setting up a potential Nightbreed 2, but obviously that never happened. The cliffhanger also kind of drags the movie down a little bit because in order to arrive at it, they had to have a character's motivation completely 360 in between scenes in a way that completely contradicts everything we'd seen of that character beforehand. Like literally, a character goes from virtuous to villainous off screen for seemingly no reason. It's not all bad though. The movie has some outstanding villainous performances from David Cronenberg and Charles Hayde. Most of the scenes exploring the underground layer of the Nightbreed are fun, even if Danny Elfman's score gives it too much of a PG-13 Tim Burton-y vibe. Some of the monster designs are fun, though their screen time is limited. Some of the puppets even verge on wet. They don't quite get there, but they're close. They're moist puppets, at least. If I didn't know what a passion project this was for Clive Barker, I'd think this was a movie by committee. It very much feels like an interesting premise that they didn't want to explore fully to save room for future installments and make this a franchise with semi-annual releases. It has that vibe of being kind of like things you already like, but not quite understanding what makes those things work. And there's a lot of money on screen. The production design looks expensive, even if it doesn't always look great. But still, there's some monsters in it. There are worse things to watch in between precisely 2 beers on a Sunday night. Hey, it's me again, Bobby Duke, starter channel, etc. Why don't you go to magicspoon.com/scarycats and enter the code ScaryCats for $5 off your first purchase. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video about Clive Barker's Nightbreed. They agreed for that to be the premise of the video.